The latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
A win for parents. Good morning, Amy Jacobson here, Jeannie Ives from The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson, 11 a.m. to noon, but we're honored today to be filling in for Dan Proft, who's, I'm going to guess, maybe he's out golfing, Jeannie. Do you have tabs on him?
I do not have tabs on him.
Oh, okay, fine.
Nope.
But there's a big victory yesterday. The Supreme Court ruled that California cannot hide children's transgenders and transitions from their parents. It was a landmark decision. It protects parental rights nationwide. And the person that led the lawsuit was Erin Friday, and her daughter became a boy without her knowledge.
No. You cannot become a boy.
Okay. Well, they tried to transition
her
daughter into a boy during school, and then they called Child Protective Services against her when she didn't want the transition to take place. She's feeling victorious this morning.
Well, the school districts have been taking this position that they know better than parents, and that is ending. That ends today. The school districts were extremely aggressive against parents. They were manipulating records so that kids' names would switch automatically back and forth when they were communicating with the parent versus the child. They were taking on the position that parents are presumed to be abusive. So if a child says, I don't want my parents to know, the school would say, okay, we're not going to let the parents know. So they were casting aside parents in a very crucial decision on how a child should be raised.
Yeah, I hate to break it to the school districts and these kids, but just because your parents say, no, this is not good for you, does not make them abusive. Erin Friday, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Well, joining us now is Corey DeAngelis. He is a school choice advocate, and President Trump has called him a fighter for parental rights. He joined the Heritage Foundation recently. He's also a senior fellow at the Americans for Fair Treatment and a visiting fellow at the American Institute for Economic Research, president of the Educational Freedom Institute, a contributor to Real Truth Media, and so much more. We're honored to have him on as our guest to talk about this and a lot of other things happening in education. And I appreciate the fact that he pays attention to what is happening in Illinois and in Chicago specifically. Mr. DeAngelis, thanks so much for joining us on on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, let's just start here with the Supreme Court case. I mean, obviously, this shouldn't have even been an issue, but you've got all these woke schools, and including the fact that in the state of Illinois in 2019, one of the first things Governor Pritzker did was he had his state board of education put out guidelines, literally saying that schools should keep from parents the social transitioning of any child. That is still the official policy. We're getting a little bit of common sense, but don't we have a lot further to go?
Yeah, that's totally insane. And after the Supreme Court victory, hopefully parents start to crack down on the schools in Illinois as well. I mean, it's you see these politicians in Illinois controlled by the teachers unions just painting parents with a broad brush, saying that they're all abusers. If they're going to, have a conversation with their kid, all of a sudden there's going to be abuse happening without, looking, they're throwing stones and they live in a glass house without looking at all the problems in the public school system. If you just Google every morning 2 words, teacher arrested, you'll see that there's a lot of abuse that happens in the government school system too. So these kind of accusations can go both ways. And I would say that keeping secrets from parents is more likely to cause harm to the child. One, because their parent won't be involved in the decisions about their medical, their medical decisions and their educational decisions. But then you might kind of strengthen a relationship between someone at the school and the child who is not their parent. And that could lead to problems further down the line. And the federal judge who initially struck down this insane California law to keep secrets from parents in schools was by the name of Roger Benitez, and he called these types of secrecy policies a trifecta of harm. Obviously, it hurts the parents because it infringes upon their 14th Amendment right to direct the upbringing of their children, but also hurts the teachers because the teachers have, they might want to tell the parents. They might object to the new student pronouns at school. They might want to lead the child towards reality as opposed to this delusion at a young age. And it also, the trifecta comes in where it hurts the kid as well because this could lead them down a path of transitioning and having sex change surgeries or puberty blockers, things that could cause irreversible damage to these kids. And I mean, we're even seeing out in New York, there was a case that a grand jury found the surgeon and the child psychologist liable for $2 million, which, it's a good start, but that we won even in New York should put these institutions on watch. And just because we won at the Supreme Court, parents, you need to be vigilant and watch your school because I think you're still going to have rogue actors within the system try to subvert the will of the people and the Supreme Court.
That's what I was going to ask you because Democrats don't like to follow the law if they don't agree with it. So you don't think that the secrecy is going to stop?
Well, I think even in the courts, there's going to be some ping pong going back and forth. We see this all the time. I mean, we won a school choice case in 2020, went up to the Supreme Court from Montana where they said, don't exclude any religious schools from a school choice program. That would be a violation of the 14th Amendment and people's right to freely exercise their religion, the First Amendment as well. And then Maine goes and says, we have a school choice program. We're going to continue to exclude these religious schools, not because they are religious, but it's because they're doing religious things. And so they split hairs. It's a distinction without a difference. We saw this with the Mahmoud decision last year out of Montgomery County, Maryland. This allows parents to pull their kids out of gender ideology instruction. We won at the Supreme Court last year. And then just a few months ago, there was another case coming out of I think it was Massachusetts, where it was a kindergartner, and they said, well, this kid wanted to get out of gender, this gender course, but we're gonna say this was gender identity that it had to deal with. It wasn't gender ideology, and so you see how they just continue to play these games. And so at the end of the day, the parents need to be involved with their kids' education. They need to make sure they're asking their children serious questions every day to make sure that what's going on at school does not cross any boundaries. And I'd say school choice would be a great solution, too, because if they get a whiff of these things happening at school, they should be able to take their kids' money somewhere else. I mean, in Chicago, you have a school that's 97% empty. They're spending almost $100,000 a kid. What if you gave parents just $20,000 of that? I mean, they'd be able to find a much better alternative that's actually aligned with their values and doesn't disrespect them and doesn't try to keep secrets from them.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, and I appreciate, again, your attention on Illinois and Chicago in particularly. First of all, the report that you retweeted, or I'm sorry, posted again on X. Can't use Twitter anymore, right? You can't say that?
I still say they tweeted. Put it on social media.
Put it on social media. But I mean, you retweeted Ted Dabrowski's work. Ted is running for governor of the state of Illinois, and he put this out a while ago. Back in 25, Chicago Public Schools, 20 most empty public schools. And this is why most people around the country are now picking up the fact that this is a complete waste of money. So these are useless schools. They need to go away. But the other thing that you also shared on your X is that Illinois Democrat Senator Garcia Guzman filed a bill prohibiting the state from opting into Trump's new school choice program. She just received $72,500 from the Chicago Teachers Union. She's received over $519,000 from the Teachers Union since October of 2023. And here she is filing SB 3966, prohibiting school choice from coming in to the state of Illinois. And don't you think, honestly, school choice solves all this? Hey, you want your kids in a some sort of indoctrination center that teaches, genders. You have more than one gender at the kindergarten level, and then goes on to teach how to have sex at in the 6th grade, and then goes on to teach in the high school, the benefits of abortion. If you want to have that type of school, okay, fine, send your kid to that school. But school choice solves all these issues.
Exactly. It's the only way forward through freedom as opposed to force. And, because then, in the current system, you basically have a minority inflicting their will on the majority. You have a special interest group, namely the teachers union, controlling the minds of other people's children. And when it comes to school choice, we're just saying, yeah, you do you raise your kid how you want to raise your kid, and I'm going to raise my kid how I want to raise my kid. And that's the only way you get out of this one-size-fits-all disaster where you have people fighting with one another to capture the minds of each other's children. And that's not a society that we should promote. We should promote a society that respects each other's right to direct the upbringing of their children. And so, yeah, this follow the money case is pretty interesting too. The senator received $73,000 almost on February 2nd and February 6th. And then on February 6th, lo and behold, she files a bill from that supports what the teachers union wants to block school choice again in Illinois. And the unions are freaking out about this right now because J.B. Pritzker, when he ran for election in 2022, I think he lied, but he tried to have his cake and eat it too. He said that he supported the state level school choice tax credit program, but then didn't lift a finger to save it. And he was able before to say, well, the House and Senate's their fault. He even told, I believe, the Chicago Tribune in 2023 that he would sign a bill to save the program if it got to his desk. But he probably knew it was never going to get to his desk. But now Trump has this new program. It puts the decision squarely in the hands of the governor. And so, J.B. Pritzker, you can't point the finger at anybody else anymore. And this program doesn't touch a single penny of local public school funding. It encourages new charitable donations to come into the state of Illinois. And if you don't opt in, because anybody can donate to these scholarships wherever you live, that would guarantee basically that money would flow out of Illinois because people would be donating scholarships to states that do opt in, like Florida and Texas. So you'd be Governor Jared Polis, a Democrat, opted in, and he said it was a no-brainer decision. And he said quote, I would be crazy not to opt in because you'd be shooting yourself in the foot if you didn't. So the Chicago Teachers Union is doing a full court press, and this bill is basically a way for lawmakers to try to take away that decision from the governor. If J.B. Pritzker vetoes it, they would need an override of, I believe, a 3/5 majority in Illinois to override the veto.
Well, practically everybody agrees that education is the key to opportunity in the future, and that it's imperative that our school children can read and do math at grade level when they graduate from 12 years of public education. That doesn't seem to be the case, but I wanted to bring this up to you, and maybe you want to investigate this on your own too. Mm-hmm. But John Saylor in the Wall Street Journal had Mellon's radical prisoner education, and he writes, at the Stateville Correction Center, a maximum security prison in Illinois, which Governor J.B. Pritzker ordered closed last year for unrelated reasons, a group of professors offered courses for inmates funded by the Mellon Foundation. One course, Research, Writing, and Mass Incarceration, began with a workshop run by Bill Ayers, a co-founder of the Weather Underground, a Marxist terrorist group responsible for dozens of bombings in the U.S. in the 1970s. Of course, we know of Bill Ayers because he's a retired pensioner from the University of Illinois in Chicago, where we're paying he's probably got close to a $200,000 pension at this point. But here's the deal. The article also says one goal of the Mellon-supported course at Statesville is building a movement that centers abolition, meaning the abolition of prisons, according to the proposal I required via records request. The proposal for the Mellon-supported project at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign says it assumes an explicitly abolitionist stance and has hosted discussions on prison abolition. And this is what they're trying to do. And oh, by the way, guess what? In Illinois, there's a House bill and a Senate bill, and it creates the Prison Education Fund. It provides money in the Prison Education Fund to be used by community colleges and the Board of Higher Education to make grants to prison education programs that award associate degrees or bachelor's degrees to those currently incarcerated students. We're going to fund this.
It's totally insane. It's like they're trying to breed radicals within the prison system who, they may be susceptible to this kind of Marxism. And so, there's another way to reduce the prison population, which would be to have school choice.
Yes.
I actually did a study on this in Milwaukee where my first peer-reviewed study, or one of the first, almost a decade ago now, showed that kids that got to use the scholarship program in Milwaukee, after about the time that they became about 30 years of age, I tracked them over time, my co-author and I, and we found a large reduction in crime. I mean, it shouldn't be all that surprising that if you get a better education, you're more likely to get a job, you're less likely to end in the criminal justice system. And you know what? Stacey Davis Gates, the president of the Chicago Teachers Union, who's now on leave for whatever reason, I guess, she sent her kid to private school, and then she called school choice racist a few years ago, and then we found out she's sending her kid to a private school. Total hypocrisy. We should extend those opportunities to others, too.
Well, Corey DeAngelis, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time and your expertise. He is host of Education Frontlines for the Real Truth Media, a research fellow at the Heritage Foundation, and president of Educational Freedom Institute, and he joined us on AM 560, The Answer.
Stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait, and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Raise your hand if chronic pain is making you feel old, older than you actually are. Ongoing pain can really turn your golden years upside down. But here's the good news. QC Kinetics patients right here in Chicagoland are getting relief. And it didn't happen in an operating room. Dr. Caravelli and QC Kinetics medical professionals use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science, treatments that take the tiny, powerful healing tools inside your body and concentrate them right where you need relief. That's how Mike is training for a marathon. Patrick's golf game is on fire again, and Andrea's back in her garden. These are real QC Kinetics patients. The sooner you start, the sooner inflammation and pain eases, and the sooner joint damage slows down. So don't wait. Find out if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics regenerative treatments, and tell them I sent you when you do. Your visit and consultation free. Call now, 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. Call QC Kinetics at 312-827-6261.
I'm Rob Cole, owner of Cole Digital in Frankfurt, specialists in custom audio video design and installation. We sell premium TVs from Sony, Samsung, and LG for less money than the big box stores, and premium speakers from Paradigm, Monitor, and B&W. Our installers will mount the TV, hide the wires, and program a single easy-to-use remote, or whole home audio with in-ceiling speakers in each room controlled by an app on your smartphone. We are known for our spectacular home theaters with a laser projector, 120-inch screen, and incredible surround sound, and leather seats, a Starfield ceiling, and acoustic treatments. Tour our Smart Living Design Center in Frankfurt, the largest in America, 15,000 square feet, 5 themed theaters, and 30 rooms of audio-video lighting and great design ideas. We're a conservative-owned local company that gives back to our community. Visit us at coledigital.com, that's K-O-L-E digital.com, or call us at 815-469-2000, and we'll bring the showroom to you. Cole Digital, what smart living is all about.
Are you a fraud-paying American? 1 in 4 tax-paying Americans have been victim of identity fraud. With LifeLock, your identity, if it's stolen, they fix it, guaranteed, or your money